the world is going to reevaluate all these assets. And what you're going to see is they're going to demonetize the other assets and shift them into the Bitcoin asset class. And as they do it, when Bitcoin replaces gold, it should 30x from where it was. And when they replace all of the other assets, there's no reason why it can't 500x.
In this video, we'll delve into one of Michael Saylor's recent presentations, specifically the one he delivered at LabitConf, the largest Bitcoin conference in all of Latin America based in Argentina. In this presentation, Michael will present his arguments on why he believes Bitcoin is the best asset currently available. He draws comparisons with other market assets and even highlights the significant fragility of fiat currencies like the heavily impacted Argentine peso and the US dollar. Michael Saylor explains that investing in Bitcoin is a compelling option to escape the ongoing economic chaos worldwide, and moreover, to benefit from it. With currencies across the globe plummeting due to currency debasement and the prices of goods rapidly rising, all while salaries remain stagnant or see minimal changes, individuals need an asset capable of overcoming these challenges. This asset should help them preserve and potentially grow their wealth over time. Michael believes that Bitcoin is the solution to these issues, and in this presentation he will elucidate why. But before we dive into the details, please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It's the only way this entirely free content can exist and allows me to keep bringing you more and better videos. Thank you very much. And now, let's get started with the video.
We have never in thousands of years ever actually accomplished perfect sound money. Bitcoin is the first monetary asset that is not intrinsically defective. That's a big sentence. Think about it. It's the first non-defective asset. People will build, if you double the price of real estate, they'll create more. If you double the price of a stock, they'll create more. They print more fiat currency, they mine more gold, but nobody can create more Bitcoin. So this is a big idea. And so here we get to the orange pill moment. I mean, the reason you want to go and orange pill everyone you know is we finally have an asset, Bitcoin, the world's leading. It's the leading scarce, desirable, portable, durable, maintainable asset. If you remember, where I started in this presentation, I said, if you don't want to lose the economic war, you need to find something scarce, desirable, portable, durable, and maintainable. We've found it. Now, most people think they're too smart to just buy Bitcoin. They want to be brilliant investors. You see it all the time on Twitter. Everybody's giving you a trading idea, an investment idea, an altcoin idea, a stock idea, something. But I'm here to tell you that most investment strategies don't work. If you look at the returns on the S&P index, if you held a portfolio of stocks for 30 years, you would get 7.8% return. If you missed the best 10 days or one day every 3 years, you get 5% return. If you miss the top day each year, the best day or 30 best days, you get 1.6% return. And actually, there's only 50 days, or basically 2 days out of the 30 years. And if you missed the right ones, then you got no return. You lost all your money. So you have to guess which 2 days each year are going to perform, or which day each year is going to perform in order to actually outtrade the market. And nobody's that smart. In essence, 99% of the time, nothing's happening. And if you sell, then you'll probably make a mistake, because on the one day when something happens, that's when all the gains take place. Now, you also can't pick stocks. This chart is the return of the Magnificent Seven, or 7 stocks versus every other stock in the S&P 500 index. And what you can see is the index might be up 11%. 7 stocks are up 53%. Everybody else is zero. There is no return. Everybody's failing. 99% of the companies are failing to deliver any shareholder return. There's only a handful that are succeeding. And if you want to know something more blood-curdling, It's 7 stocks out of 7,000 publicly traded companies that are returning the majority of the returns. That's 1 in 1,000. At 99.9% of these companies, they're not beating inflation. You know, you might think that somehow you're doing a lot of brilliant things, and they're working very hard, but they're working very hard rolling a rock up a hill, and the hill is monetary inflation.
Michael Saylor contends that inflation and currency devaluation are eroding the returns of traditional assets, which struggle to grow enough to tackle this significant issue. 99% of publicly traded companies are unable to outpace inflation. Winners are rare. This is why the majority of traditional investment strategies have become obsolete. They lack real returns that enable wealth growth. However, Michael demonstrates with data what the winning strategy is, one that can transform our fiat money into something truly valuable, and that strategy is Bitcoin. Let's continue listening to him.
And so your trading strategy, your investment strategy, your stock picking strategy, your diversification strategy, they just don't work. There is one winning strategy that's going to work. And the one winning strategy is hold the apex asset for a long period of time. And so Bitcoin is that apex asset. That's how you beat the market. The S&P index will look like it's benefiting, but at the end of the day, it'll just keep up. Gold will actually underperform because it's commodity and they're producing more of it. And then any kind of cash or cash derivatives or bonds, they're going to destroy value. Now, let's look at some real numbers. This is Bitcoin performance versus other assets since August. Bitcoin's up 199% while the world's in chaos and there's a lot of inflation. The S&P index is up 30%. The NASDAQ 24, gold is down 4%. Gold's not working. So the money that's getting printed doesn't flow into gold. Gold isn't money. People are either investing in tech stocks or other corporations or Bitcoin, maybe real estate. They're not investing in gold. Silver's even worse. Why? Because silver's easier to manufacture than gold is. It's less scarce. And bonds are even worse than silver. Why? Because bonds are just governments printing money. They're just printing more bonds, and so they're not working.
Now, what if you invested $1 million over a 100-year period? Whether you kept it in cash, bought bonds, stocks, or BTC, which of these instruments or assets would best preserve your purchasing power? And which of them would actually enable you to increase this purchasing power over time, providing a real return on your money? Let's dive into the details.
Now, over a long time horizon, laser focus is rewarded. The point is, think out 100 years. Think why? Not because you're going to live 100 years, but because thinking 100 years is clarifying. If your family had thought 100 years in advance, you wouldn't be here. If your government doesn't think 100 years in advance, there would be no cities. If you're going to do great things, you need to look out 3 generations. Now, if your family or your company had $1 million, a lot of money, I grant you, but if you had $1 million, if you invested it, in cash at a 7.5%, or 7% degradation, you're going to end up with $900 worth of value left after 100 years. Your money's going away. You're going to destroy all your wealth. If you invest $1 million in bonds at a 5% yield or a 5% pre-tax or a 3.5% after-tax yield and hold it for 100 years, you will lose 96% or 97% of your wealth. You'll go from $1 million to 31,000. Bonds will destroy your wealth. If you invest in the S&P index, you're just going to have the same amount of money after 100 years that you started with. You're not going to make any more. If you were to split that portfolio between the S&P index and Bitcoin, and this is assuming 7% for the S&P and 14% for Bitcoin, and assuming 7% monetary inflation that I talked about, you're going to convert $1 million into $512 million. It's extraordinary. And of course, if you simply invest the entire amount in Bitcoin, you're going to go from $1 million to $1 billion. it's 1,000x. You're going to double your money 10 times. And so you can see the difference between a mediocre strategy, a conventional strategy, and a winning strategy.
Finally, Michael discusses the future of Bitcoin and the position he believes this asset will assume in the world of investments starting from the year 2024. He sees this year as a turning point in the history of Bitcoin, considering one of the most significant halvings in its history is approaching. This event is expected to transform Bitcoin into even more sound money than gold itself, coupled with the highly anticipated arrival of the Bitcoin Spot ETF from BlackRock. Let's listen to Michael Saylor and his bullish price prediction for Bitcoin in the upcoming years.
I'll end with the point on the future, which is the near-term catalysts are going to be fair value accounting, the Bitcoin Spot ETFs, and the halving. They're all coming. The world is going to reevaluate all these assets, and what you're going to see is they're going to demonetize the other assets and shift them into the Bitcoin asset class. And as they do it, when Bitcoin replaces gold, it should 30x from where it was. And when they replace all of the other assets, there's no reason why it can't 500x.
In summary, Michael Saylor believes that no country can halt inflation, publicly traded companies can't overcome it, and workers can't outwork inflation. However, everyone can invest in Bitcoin to escape this chaotic world and even thrive in the midst of the real-world turmoil. This allows them to finally hold an asset that is truly valuable, capable of overcoming the issues surrounding us today, preventing us from growing beyond the limits imposed by those in power. According to Michael Saylor, this asset is poised to grow around 500 times in the coming years. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more similar content. Feel free to engage in the comments section below the video, sharing your own Bitcoin price predictions for 2024 and beyond, just like Michael Saylor does. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope to see you here again soon. We are Wealth Wizards wishing you an excellent day. Goodbye.